Absolutely rubbish, to be honest with you. It's an absolute disgrace. Look, we could have conceded a penalty at the end, and I think we'd be talking about the end of Erik ten Hag. That's the truth. That's the fact. We shouldn't lie. We shouldn't hide. Whether it's fair or not, that's the harsh truth. We were that close to potentially seeing Ten Hag sacked on Monday morning. That's something I was thinking all week. If we lose to Bournemouth, they'll surely let him go because the season will be completely fucked. And, you know, you could interview Nagelsmann. You could interview somebody else before the end of the season. So I think, you know, wafer thin, ham, or whatever you want to call it. That's how close I think it was to Ten Hag being sacked on Monday morning, because the players they're not putting the shift in. Marcus Rashford looked fresher at the end of the game than he did at the start. Rasmus Højlund looked like he'd run a marathon. And that's the contrast of this team. You've got certain players who are playing badly in the second half because they're knackered. And then you've got certain players who don't look like they're breaking a sweat. And when you've got that, you've got a problem. But then when you've got a manager, and I will call the manager out more than anybody, illogically baffling what Ten Hag's playing at. Does he want the sack? Does he want the money? Maybe he's had a chat with INEOS and he doesn't like the idea of INEOS and Ashworth and Barada telling him what to do, and he's just a coach. Maybe he doesn't like that. So maybe he's like, you know what? I've got 1 year left on my contract. If they sack me, it's 10 million quid and I'll get a job in Europe. I don't know what's going on with Man United. Get your player ratings in. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. We'll cover that in a moment. But we're not going to not talk about the manager in the first few minutes because, look, I've been very critical of the Ten Hag out brigade because I feel that, and I still feel, that sacking the manager will lead to no major change. A new CEO, a new director of football, a new owner, they won't be talking together until June. Bring a new manager in, everybody's new, and you think you're going to get 10 players sold. Who's telling them to sell the players? The players themselves. So, and we've been in, this reminded me of Ranić at the end. This reminded me of Ollie at the end. I've been down this road with all of you. This is nothing different. United turning up and playing shit against a team from the bottom half of the table that outplays us. It's not new. It's nothing new. We see it all the time. To some of it's the same players. So I don't think sacking a manager changes anything. You know, you bring Nagelsmann in, you bring Flick in, you bring Zidane in. They're still going to have to work with the same players that will sack them again in 2 years' time. We'll get back on the cycle. But where I have to say it. I'm a fraud if I don't do it. I have to say it. What the hell is the manager doing tonight? What the hell is he doing? 77 minutes he brings on Mason Mount. You spent 55 million quid on him. Nobody really understood why, but you spent 55 million quid on him. And you're bringing him on for Mainu. Like, do you not know why you've got Mason Mount then? Is that? So we didn't really understand it. And now the manager doesn't know either. You could see him stood on the touchline talking to Van der Geeg and Mount, and it was almost like, where do I get him on then? You spent 55 million quid on him. He clearly doesn't know where to put Mason Mount, because if this is an important player, he'd be starting games. We are shit. We are not that good that we can afford to keep your number one signing on the bench. Remember, this was Ten Hag's first signing. First signing of last summer, Mason Mount. Doesn't even know where to fucking play him. Someone needs to ask that question in the next press conference. Why did you buy Mason Mount? I think Mount's a good player. I think he's better than some of the shit that are starting. But why did you buy Mason Mount, Eric? Because you clearly haven't got a fucking clue where to play him if you're bringing him on in the 77th minute for Kobe Mainu. What the fucking hell did you spend £55 million on Mount for? Or did you? Because I'm starting to think that Marcus Rashford might be the assistant coach. We just don't get told that. Because, point two, why did Rashford start the game? No fucking idea. And look, to the people who say, oh, we're talking about Rashford again, he has been terrible all season. He should not have started the game. And after another 90 minutes, did you see any justification for Marcus Rashford starting that game? Did you see anything different from what you've seen from the last month, the last 3 months, the last 6 months? Why did Marcus Rashford start the game? I wrote this down when I saw the team news, and all I said is, judge the Rashford performance after the game. Well, I'm judging the selection, not the performance. We'll judge the performance on the player ratings. Why did Marcus Rashford get picked by Erik ten Hag? Why did I know to drop him and you knew to drop him, but ten Hag, for the how manyth time? I mean, we're talking 20, 30 times now that he started him when no one else would. And what justification did Rashford give for starting that game? I mean, it's nonsensical. And then, you know what? I'm going to say this as well. Garnacho this season, the overhead kick against Everton, he's done it multiple times as well. Fulham's another one. Garnacho's actually got Ten Hag out of this shit this season numerous times. And at half-time, who does Ten Hag decide to the whole fan base is going to throw up as the fall guy and humiliate? 19-year-old Garnacho. That's what he's going to do. The player that could be part of our future, the player that could be amazing, who is playing out of position, I know I'm going to hold Garnacho up as the fall guy and make him look like the scapegoat, and I'm going to take him off after 45 minutes. I'm going to sub Garnacho at half-time. The lad who had won, quite rightly, before Christmas, won the left wing position. Rashford was on the right, Garnacho was on the left. And we're always better with Garnacho on the left. Can somebody at some point tell me when Rashford suddenly started playing really well to win back the left wing position? Because if I remember rightly, Garnacho won the left wing position and was playing really, really well. And then somehow he ended up on the right wing and Rashford went back to the left. Is Marcus Rashford a shareholder of Man United, a partial owner, a partial manager, assistant coach? Because I've got no idea why he's starting games for Man United, and more importantly, why he's won the left wing position back when he does sod all. I don't get it, but that's on the manager. And he keeps him on for 90 minutes. We are shit. We are absolutely shit. And we're also carrying players for some God-beknown reason. Reputation, contract, brand. I don't know what it is, but we can't afford to carry players in that team. We got dominated by Bournemouth in the first half, and we're picking players. Why? Since when did Man United become a team that can afford to just pick somebody who doesn't deserve to get picked? This is on the manager, by the way. This is not anti-Rashford. This is the manager. What the fuck is Ten Hag doing today? And it's not the first time. Why is Garnacho, you're more than happy to throw him under the bus for a bad 45 minutes, but Rashford can do it all season and you won't drop him? Like, it's weird. It's weird. I'm really worried. Look, I'm not going to say the words Ten Hag out, but I genuinely just don't know what the point is anymore. I really don't know. I really just don't know. I genuinely worry about our future. I think the club's a fucking mess. And INEOS are there. INEOS are part of this. Why are you and I, as fans, looking at this club and going, what the bloody hell is going on? Who's in control here? They're in control. And they're allowing this to happen. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I can't get my head around it. I really, really can't. Mason Mount or Mount de Beek, who signed him? Erik ten Hag didn't. Then what are we? Says Sharath Mass Fitness. 1 win in 7 is relegation form, says Hassan. I honestly think Rashford has too much pull around the club and Ten Hag is scared. Mate, he's got to go then, hasn't he? You know, I'm more than happy to stick with this manager, and I think sacking a manager's a mistake. But if we've got a coward in charge, he's got to go. He's got to go. It's as simple as that. I mean, I just don't get it. I do not get it. I don't get it at all. All season, this has been going on, and it needs calling out. What the fuck is going on with the team selection? What the hell is going on with substitutions? I mean, look, Casemiro was crap. He's been crap for 3 games. Christian Eriksen sat on the bench. Amrabat sat on the bench. Like, it's clueless. It's a disgrace. Bournemouth made about 6 subs. We made 2. We're playing shit and he makes 2 subs. It's cowardly. Like, what's going on? You're telling me that Amrabat can't run around more than Casemiro, or Ericsson can't pass the ball better than for Bruno or someone like that. Look, Bruno scored 2 goals and people want to say he had a good game. Fuck off. They were both tap-ins. Like, I don't get it. I look at Ten Hag on the touchline and he looks like, you know, he's got the world against him. And I'm like, look behind you. You're like a pantomime villain. Look behind you. You've got options. There's 3 or 4 players on the pitch who are fucking useless. You've got 3 or 4 players on the bench who are senior pros. Get them on the pitch. Get them on the pitch. Simple as that. No messing around. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. And I think that, you know, we've got to be looking at that. You've got to be looking at that. Look, I don't know. I genuinely don't know where we go as a football club anymore. I don't trust INEOS, and they've got a lot of work to do. I don't trust Ashworth and what he thinks our next manager should be. I genuinely think we could go from Ten Hag to Southgate, which is terrifying. We need a manager with a pair of balls, but I don't think that's what INEOS want. I think INEOS want a manager with a few hooks on, so they can be a puppet to whatever they think. We desperately need a Sir Alex Ferguson, a Jurgen Klopp, a Pep Guardiola, and I think we're looking for a Potter or a Southgate. I think we're looking for a yes man. I think we're looking for a politician. This is not what we need. We need a revolution. We need a manager who gets hold of those players and absolutely dominates them. What we're going to go and get is a people pleaser. I think we're going to get another Ollie. I think we're going to get a Southgate. You know, we're going to get someone who puts an arm around their shoulders and tells them how great they are. I think we're fucked, to be honest. I think we are so far away. We will fire Ten Hag. I've been saying this for 2 weeks. We will fire Ten Hag. And, you know, based on today, maybe he deserves it. But I wouldn't do it. I still think the one thing that Ten Hag has that a new manager won't have is the ability to say to the INEOS, sell these players. But then I look at the way he's treating some of those players and picking them, and I wonder what the the thing is, I know what Pep Guardiola's doing. I know what Arteta's doing. I know what Klopp's doing. I know what Ange is doing. I know what Emery's doing. I don't know what this manager's doing now. Like, today was the lowest of the low. I don't understand how he's watching Bournemouth dominators and just thinks Garnacho's the problem. And then doesn't make another sub for half an hour. I don't know what game he's watching. I really don't know what he thinks he's doing. Like, he needed to make 3 or 4 subs before the hour mark. He made one. It's just, I'm baffled by that. Absolutely baffled. Some people having a pop at Rasmus Højlund. Look, I thought in the first half he was probably our best player. Worked really hard, held the ball up really well, was tracking back. Second half, knackered. Absolutely knackered. 1 shot in 4 games. Strikers are judged on goals. If you don't create chances for your striker can't score goals. Again, I blame the manager for this. Like, I'm sorry, I could go into that dressing room at half-time and tell them to pass the ball to fucking Rasmus. They won't do it. That's on the manager. That's on the manager. You've bought a player for 60 million quid to play up front and you can't get your team to pass to him. It's shocking. They don't put balls in the box. They don't look to transition quickly. I mean, I watched Isaac play for Newcastle today. They countered and played him in 3 or 4 times. Bournemouth were attacking us. There's no reason why we can't counter at pace. But the trouble is, and I saw Rashford do it 4 times today. He gets the ball, he gets his head down, he tries to take on 4 or 5 players, and inevitably he loses the ball. Look, if you're judging Rasmus on anything other than goals, you're a fool. He's a striker. And people say his movement could be better. It doesn't matter how good his movement is. It's like Michael Jackson dancing in his back garden without a tape recorder. It's just movement. Where's the music? You know, where's the creativity? It's not there. There's nothing going on. I think people need to understand football at a basic level before they start trying to understand it at a deeper level. The basics of football are scoring goals. A striker's job is to score goals. But to score goals, they must be given service. And we don't provide the service. We just don't do it. There's not There's not crosses coming into the box that Rasmus isn't making the runs for, if that's what you're talking about. There's not balls in behind that are gettable. You know, we're not creating chances. We had 2 shots on target today. One of them was a mistake by Bournemouth. One of them was a handball that probably wasn't even a handball. How many clear-cut chances did we create today? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I thought Ahmad came on and did well, but we don't create any chances. We will lose more games. We are fucked. Coventry might beat us next week. We are so bad. We are a bad, bad team with some really bad apples in that team. And I don't understand. I mean, look, I'll throw a conspiracy theory out there. Ten Hag, to me, looked like someone who didn't give a shit. Honestly, that's one conspiracy theory. You could throw more. But I'm baffled by that today. I don't want to see a manager sacked. It just prolongs the cycle. But he looked to me like a manager that didn't realise he had subs. He looked to me like a manager that kept Casemiro and Rashford on the pitch because they used to be good players. He looked to me like a manager that was like, they're experienced, they've done it in the past, maybe they'll just produce a moment. Well, that's not management. That's not leadership. And I think every single one of you, after 60 minutes, would have took Rashford off, put Mount on the left, I'd have took Casemiro off and brought Eriksen or Amrabat on, and I'd have a more balanced, progressive, possession-based team. He just sticks with the same thing that wasn't working last week, that wasn't working in the first half. It's like sticking with the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. Look, we are 2 inches away from conceding another penalty and losing that game. You can't take any positives from that. And the vast majority of it has to go on the manager. Marcus Rashford, I don't think, picks himself. I don't think he does. So you've got to put it on the manager tonight. If that's his attempt to keep his job, maybe he does want the sack. Maybe he does want the 10 million. Maybe he does want out. But you know what? If he wants out, imagine how bad it must be. If he actually wants out, he wants the paycheck. Because I don't understand that tonight. And that's not me saying Ten Hag out, by the way. That's me saying I love this football club and I don't understand a fucking minute of what we're trying to do. I don't understand what INEOS's plan is. I don't understand what Ten Hag's plan was. I don't understand, when I look at certain players, why I've spent most of my life watching people like Vidic, Keane, Ince, Scholes, Ronaldo, Rooney, John O'Shea, run through brick walls for the club, and then I'm watching players like that who are just jogging around going, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if Sir Jim Radcliffe's a lifelong fan, he should be feeling exactly the same of us. And there ain't no way I've ever met a Man United fan that's gone, you know what would solve this problem? Gareth Southgate. That's not a lifelong... You know what? If Sir Jim Radcliffe appoints Gareth Southgate, I don't believe he's a Man United fan. Because I don't think there's a Man United fan on this planet that genuinely thinks Gareth Southgate's the solution to this problem, that's watched Man United over the last 30 years. I just don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. So I don't know what we're doing. I said last night I suspect the Glazers are still very much involved because we still feel like a Glazer club. I don't know what Ten Hag's doing. I know what the players are doing. Actually, I nearly said I don't know what the players are doing. I know what the players are doing. In fact, to be fair to the players, they're the only ones I can read. I know what the players are doing because they've done it for the last 10 years. The cycle is there. 1 year of trying, year 2 give up, year 3 the manager's gone. It's just happening a bit sooner. The players, if you look at that, remember when Solskjaer got the job in the March, and then in the April we got stuffed by Everton? Seen it before. April, here we go. Rangnick, April, shit, seen it before. Van Gaal, April, shit, seen it before. I've seen this before. I know what it is with the players. It's an amazing thing that you can get 200-300 grand a week paid for you by Man United. You can put a shirt on and wipe your ass with it. You don't care about it. We are fucking miles off, by the way. We are so far off. It's unbelievable. But I wonder what this manager is doing. I wonder what this manager has done to Garnacho tonight, by the way. That he humiliated him. He's humiliated him by taking him off today at half-time. He's thrown him under the bus publicly. I don't get that. I just don't get that. I really, really don't. Lost the changing room long time ago, says Charlie. We're not going to get Europe. We're tripe, says Quinstar. You end up where you deserve to be at the end of the season. Mark, the players on the bench were underperforming previously. That's why they were put on the bench in the first place. I'm sorry, but the bench isn't good enough. Amy, I'm sorry, but there's 3 or 4 players in that first team who are fucking horseshit. So that's not how it works. Medical team needs to be sacked, says Not Now Dave. Hopefully Ten Hag taking Rashi with him to his new job, says Trishan. Wan-Bissaka is a better defender than Delo. He should have been put on the right to cover Cambuala, says Warben. I think he has to be sticking with the reliable because the entire team is garbage, but they're not reliable, FWG. They're not reliable. Mark, is Antonio Conte available, says Chris. Depressing thought. Ten Hag's not a coward. He got rid of club legend Ronaldo. He's just stupid and needs to go, says Hardick. Yeah, you don't know the story around Ronaldo, so don't talk about what you don't know about. But Mark, as much as we are Ten Hag in, he's just blatantly sacking himself. And that's the sad thing, Maz. That is the sad thing. Right, let's do these player ratings because there's a fan forum raring to go after me as well. I don't want to be greedy with your time. So I think I can refresh this, actually. Let me just refresh it because there's probably a few more. Yes, there is. Okay, let's go through player ratings. Make sure you smash a like a video, subscribe. Anana's a 5 for me. I agree. There ain't no way David De Gea lets both those shots in. No way. 1 on his front post and 1 from outside the box. Positional sense is not good enough. I think he has to save at least 1 of those goals. I'm sorry. I don't think that's top goalkeeping. I think it's a 5 for me. Delo as well, probably his poorest game in a long, long time. I'll give him a 5 to be generous. I like Delo, but no, absolutely below par performance from Delo. I said last night there are certain players in this team that won't have a future if Ten Hag gets sacked. Delo might be one of those players. And yet the performance is below par in a game we need to win. Maguire, first half poor, second half good, 6.5 for me. I thought second half played really well. First half was poor. I'd give him 6.5. He might even be a man of the match contender. He struggled in the first half, I will agree. But in the second half, I thought he was really dominant and played really well. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether Bournemouth got tired or whatever, but he grew into the game, definitely. Maybe Bright. I think Bournemouth actually made some subs, didn't they? And I think they lost a bit of speed up front. But yeah, he definitely was better in the second half, I think. A lot of people saying 6.5, you're having a laugh. Whereas a lot of people are saying he was a 4. I don't know. Well, look, somebody said an 8. Cambuala's got to be a 5. All I'm going to say is Lindelof, Evans, Martinez, Varane. When you've got 4 senior centre-backs injured, you're going to have to pick a centre-back from the youth. And when you pick a centre-back from the youth, they're going to make mistakes. I don't hold him accountable for anything. That could have been a penalty at the end, in which case you could say he's had a role to play in all 3 Bournemouth goals. He ain't going to be Virgil van Dijk. He ain't going to be Saliba. He's a young kid who's been thrown into a situation because of our injury crisis. I'd leave it at that and leave him alone. Wan-Bissaka, probably give him a 6. Thought he did okay at left back. I mean, he's not a left back, but I thought he did okay. Casemiro, 4.5. Yeah. I don't even... You know what I'd say about Casemiro as well? I don't even know what position he was playing. I don't think he was even playing as a 6. I thought he was almost playing as an 8. Hasn't got the legs to play as a 6, so he's running around as an 8. I don't get it. Don't know why he stayed on the pitch. Even if it's just for fresh legs, put Amrabat on. Don't know. Don't know what that was all about. Again, ask the manager. Mark's making it about conspiracy because he can't say what everyone's been saying for months. Dominated by relegation. Yeah, but it's not everyone, Bear. Thanks for your super chat, but it's not everyone. I mean, I'll run a poll for you now. I'll be stunned if it's... I wouldn't be surprised if more... All right, well, let's run a poll, Bear. You think you know everything. I would not be surprised if the votes go Ten Hag in because they blame the players. So you can be Ten Hag out and pretend that everybody wants Ten Hag sacked. But I wouldn't be surprised even now if fans are saying we shouldn't be sacking the manager. We should get rid of the players, which is what I sort of still believe, even though I think Ten Hag today has been incredibly, I don't know, baffling. I still think a lot of people will put it on the fact that Casemiro is on 300 grand a week and is putting in another 4. Rashford, we've not got to. Rashford, you know, and others. Kobe Mainoo, probably a 6 today. I thought he did well in the first half, but he drifted in the second half. Bruno, I'll give him a 6 for the 2 goals. But you know what? If he doesn't score 2 goals, he's getting a 5. I don't think Bruno was very... What's Bruno done today? Again, what has Bruno done today apart from score 2 goals? And people will say, well, he scored 2 goals. But, you know, one of them could have dropped to anybody and they score that. And the other one's a penalty. I don't actually think Bruno was that good today. But 2 goals, I'll give him a 6. Look, Garnacho's got to take a 4.5. It wasn't a good first half. But I think Garnacho has done enough this season that he should have took Rashford off and given Garnacho a try on the left. Garnacho's playing out of position on the right. He's had a better season than Rashford. He should have gone to the left and Rashford should have come off. That was bang out of order, in my opinion. Rashford, 4. Don't get it. Don't understand why he's playing. I mean, I'm bored. I'm bored of talking about him because there's just no justification for starting him. I think you'd get more out of him from the bench where he might come on with a point to prove. He's got no point to prove. You start him and he's almost like he expects to start the next game. I just don't get it. I'd have been very... You know what I would say? If Anthony was fit, I still think he'd have started Rashford. I still think he would have started him. I don't know why it's happening, but I do. Rasmus, I'm going to give him a 6. And the reason I'm going to give him a 6 is because he's getting no service and his work rate and ethic and, you know, getting in the right places and not getting the service. I saw one in the second half. He's timed his run perfectly with the defence. Goes to Delo. All Delo's got to do is whip it in first time. Takes a touch and ends up giving a foul away. The amount of times I've seen that this season where Rasmus and others are running into the box for the cross and it doesn't come. First half, I thought he played well. Second half, I thought he got tired. But there was a point in the second half where the ball went into his feet. He had a bad touch. The centre-back took it off him and ran forward. Rasmus chased him 20 yards and won it back. So, look, 1 shot in 4 games is not on the striker. The service is abysmal. Ahmad, I thought, did well. I'll give him a 6. Better than any of our wingers today. Why is he not starting games of football? He clearly can play at this level. And when you've got performances from some of our wingers that we've had this season, I've got no idea why he's not picking him. None at all. Don't know. Mount, doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Was way too late. Way too late. And the question about Mount is why we bought him. I just don't know. Apparently, we've got some quotes coming in from Ten Hag. I will try and bring them in if I can. Let's have a look. Have you read this quote from Jamie Redknapp? Bruno gets a lot of stick from people and some of it I get, but I also think it's unfair. I see a player that genuinely cares. Sometimes there is a pettiness calling out his players, but he is the sort of player that you'd be looking to build the team around. He's a player that makes things happen. Jamie Redknapp, I know you do the trainers thing for Skechers. Now do the eyes thing at Specsavers. Build a team around him. He's been here for fucking years. He's 29. You need more than just running around, mate. We need a lot more. A lot more. And I don't see a player that makes things happen. I don't see a player that makes things happen at all. He's not. I think he's had a terrible season and he's admitted it himself. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Ten Hag said, individual mistakes. We have players who can be better with the ball. We lose balls in positions like the first goal. It was actually a good setup from our side, but then we lose the ball. So he's blaming Garnacho. We have a team that is resilient and has character. Twice we come back from losing positions. So Ten Hag's tactic now is to throw a 19-year-old under the bus for losing the ball on the first goal. Brilliant. Well done, mate. Absolutely brilliant. You get a 3 from me today. Lowest of the season. I would describe the coaching today as bafflingly and cowardly. I think throwing Garnacho under the bus after the game is disgusting. I think taking him off at half-time when he's had your back all season and performed for you all season is cowardly. I think keeping people like Rashford and Casemiro on the team who've been playing crap for weeks is cowardly. And I don't think you've got long left in the job, mate. I don't want you to get sacked, but I think the behaviour today is baffling. I don't know what the future of this football club is. Sack the manager, probably end up being Southgate. A lot of these crap players that don't deserve to be here will survive. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Yeah. The only half chance manager that's available out there that could potentially do something is Nagelsmann. And the only way you can get Nagelsmann is if you interview him now. That's not going to happen while we've got a manager in place. It's going to end up being Southgate or Potter in the summer. Oh my God. You know when I said I don't think we've hit the bottom of the barrel? Yeah, I don't think we've hit the bottom of the barrel. Man of the match. I mean, look, I'm probably going to give it to Maguire because he played 90 minutes. I mean, yeah, I probably am. Bruno. All right. Unlucky, Harry. I never thought I'd say that, but you've been robbed. You've been absolutely robbed. Bruno got man of the match for scoring a penalty and a tap-in and running around a lot. Wow. Okay. I suppose it was slim pickings, but there you go. Right, we've got the fan forum. They're ready to go. I know they've got some really strong opinions. That's what it's all about, of course. Make sure you subscribe and do smash a like on the video. Let me just make sure they actually are live on the forum. They are. Lovely stuff. Would you take Emery, Mark? I don't think we've got the money for that, mate. We haven't got the money, have we? Really don't. Really don't. Stop the Bruno hate. I don't hate Bruno Fernandes. If you don't watch the channel, that's up to you. If you fly in as a fair weather fan, that's up to you. I demanded the signing of Bruno Fernandes. I like Bruno Fernandes, but I don't do player FC. I do honesty FC. And if you thought he had a good game today, I don't know what you're doing. Statman Dave's fucking passes completed. That's not the eye test. He didn't have a good game at all. Nobody had a good game. How can you think somebody had a good game when we got dominated? We had 2 shots on target. 2 shots on target. One was a tap-in and one was a penalty. And we're meant to say our number 10 played really well. I'm sorry, if you want to watch a number 10 play well, watch Odegaard tomorrow. A number 10's job is to create chances. We don't create chances. What is this good performance that we're talking about? Standards are on the fucking floor and they're going to get worse. See you on the pod. See you on the forum. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Absolute legends. I'll speak to you all in a bit.